So everyone that's joining right now, we're just going to wait a few minutes. It takes about a minute and a half to get everyone, all the attendees today on the call, so on the webinar. And we'll get started right away here in about a minute or so. Okay, so I'm going to get started here in just a few things today for our webinar Wednesday. We will be recording today's webinar, so it'll be all recorded and everything. You will get an email in a day or two, I think, and that will just be really a way for you to email if you want a recording of today's today's webinar. We will also be fairly quick within the next month or so be uploading all of our presentations and webinars in cisco.ca site under the business resources new platform that we'll be launching here fairly quick on our website. So on that, today I am super stoked of really to have, a wicked presenter today, Corinne from OrderE's, presenting today really around the world of social media and food service. This is such an amazing subject. We've had other webinars around this subject. It seems to always be evolving. It's always changing. It seems to also be something that you need to be ahead of it, and you need to have a full-blown strategy on it. You need to know what you're doing. It's more important than ever in today's world. So Corinne's going to be talking a little bit about this. We went through it the other day, and such a great webinar and some insights into it that should be very useful for you in really helping you elevate your presence within social media as you run your restaurants and you try to figure out this whole social media strategy of what the world wants and what are your customers want. So on that, I'm just a little update on Corinne. She's wanted me to talk to you a whole bunch about herself and just a little bit of credibility because we got to build that in here. She's been doing this and for over 7 years. She comes from the industry. She's got a lot of, immense amount of restaurant marketing, as her bio puts there. And really understanding what millennials are looking for when it comes to internet. And I don't know about you, but if you're not focusing on millennials right now and the next generation of Gen Z, you need to be, 68, I think, % of the population is that generation. And this is what they're going to be using to communicate to them. This is, the marketing material or avenues that you need to look at to connect with that huge amount of population that, by the way, loves eating out. So it's so cool. So anyways, thanks, Corinne, for today. I'm super, super stoked about this. I'm not going to do all the talking, but I'm going to ask questions. We send your questions out. There's a chat button on the bottom of the screen. Click that open, send us questions. We want to see questions. We'll ask you questions along the way as well, but we want to make sure that you participate in today's webinar. So thanks again, Corinne, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. And hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So yeah, we're really going to focus today on social media and kind of at that step 1 level, just because even, kind of like the first intro of it, the why of it, I feel is more understood today. But I feel like the kind of where people get sort of indifferent towards it is because it's kind of intimidating. So our goal today is kind of get you through that first step of being more aware of kind of what your consumers are looking for and the best approaches for starting that. So first, the why, again, it's definitely changed. I have been doing this quite a while, and even in the past, I would say 2-3 years, talking to restaurant owners about social media is such a different conversation now. 3 to 5 years ago, talking to restaurant owners, it was I don't need that, my clientele isn't on that, they're older, and the excuses were kind of more in that direction. Now it's understood that it's a need, but again, it is kind of that, okay, well, how do we do it? So real briefly to go over the why, most people are looking online. In fact, over 90%, they're looking online, whether their search is specifically for your menu, for your photos, just to see kind of what your interior looks like. They are starting at, Google at sometimes, but then other people are utilizing social media, as search engines. I thought it was something that only my 74-year-old father did, but it turns out that most people, they kind of have their preferred social network. Most people are using Facebook still, and if they're going to take a peek at your restaurant, again, menus, photos, even just your general business information as far as hours, reservations, they're looking to start at that Facebook point typically, but also the other social media outlets as well. Real cool fact here that I like is this last one, is that 75% of people who see food photos say that that photo had a direct influence on where they chose to eat. I know that's true for myself. Again, in my bio, I do call myself a typical millennial. I definitely am. But it turns out most people, cross-generationally are looking for photos of, food items that you have, and again, your interior overall to make their dining decisions. Everybody's living in their phones. It's kind of a misconception that no one's connected anymore because they're on their phones, but really every aspect of social media is about connecting, especially as a business owner, with your customers and potential customers. So about who's using social media, again, like Jay said, mostly millennials, my age group. We basically live on there. We get a bad rap for it, but that's just how we've grown up. But as kind of time has been going on, again, 3 to 5 years ago, it was completely different. The older generations weren't so much so on social media, but it seems to be about doubling every year. And they believe that has to do with a couple things. First is grandchildren. Grandparents want to keep up with their grandkids, see what they're up to. And because of social media, they can, on one feed, see all the photos of, what their grandkids did over the weekend. Also, because of the easy accessibility now to Facebook specifically, again, but other social media as well through iPads and smartphones, it's not having to learn to use a computer to access these social media outlets. It's simply, in their hands now. Your competition. So I think this is important to keep in mind as well. Even if you still feel that maybe your customers aren't as heavily involved in social media, your competition is. Over 90% of restaurants are using Facebook now, 78% are using Instagram, almost 50% are using Twitter. So if you're not doing it, your competition is, and that's something to always keep in mind as well. And Gen Z. So this is really interesting as well, because I never kind of thought about it this way. Gen Z is going to be the only generation who's never entered a restaurant without their phone in their hand. So really, if things haven't pointed to that this trend isn't going anywhere, this really does, because it's really just kind of going to get even more so where phones are relied on, social media is relied on, and really, the web overall. So I think really the starting point for going over social media is setting up your pages. I feel like a lot of people jump right into, okay, post this and, do this, X, Y, and Z, but really kind of how your pages are shown to your customers and potential customers is really important as well. Basically, if your pages aren't displayed correctly, you can really risk customers even being able to find them. Here at OrderE's, we have something called a scatter report that we run for businesses to basically see how they're doing overall online. And in the social media aspect, it acts like a consumer who's searching online. And so often we find that people can't find social media pages because they're not indexing correctly online in searches, because the information's not set up correctly, or they're simply not claimed, not created. So definitely setting up your pages is really important. So again, creating them. If you don't have a Twitter, you might have a Facebook. If you don't have a Twitter, if you don't have an Instagram, definitely create those. You can find a way to post to all of your social medias at once, so you don't want to just be focusing on that one. If you see that there are pages for your business out there, which this is really common specifically for restaurants, definitely claim those pages. We see often all the time there'll be an unofficial Facebook page with 3,000 likes, but it's not being posted to because it's not claimed. So definitely, claim those accounts as well. And also to be sure that your brand consistency is there. If you have an official Facebook page, but there's one unclaimed, claim it as well. You can bundle it into your current one if you would like, or you can just get rid of it. So this way customers aren't accidentally finding that one. When creating those accounts, make sure they're set up as business accounts. Facebook for the past about 3 years has had that as an option. And they've basically reserved the rights where if you aren't set up as a business account on Facebook, Facebook can delete your page really with no warning. They don't have to let you know. They can just simply take it offline. So you don't want to be utilizing a friend's page for your Facebook. Instagram recently switched over to having business profiles as well. Definitely, it's an easy switch. Switch your Instagram over to be a business profile. This is going to help you be able to access insights about who's liking, accessing your brand, stuff like that. So you definitely want to switch that over. And also, again, to prevent that risk of your account being deleted. When you create your pages, make sure that any information that's able to be filled in is filled in. Again, customers might be just accessing the social media page to view that, besides the photos. So you want to make sure you're providing as much information to them as possible. Most cases, customers will have a starting point, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then they'll end up on your website. But that's not always the cycle. So you want to make sure you're treating each social media page as if that's the only place the customer might end up on. Link your social media on your website. So definitely, your website's your foundation of your online presence. If you don't have one, you really, really need to get one. Social media should be linked right on the homepage where it's accessible right away. Also within your footer and/or header, so that throughout the customer's experience on your site, if they want to jump over to your Facebook, Instagram, whatever it might be, they're able to easily do so. So I'm going to go through kind of the highlights of each social media page. As far as content to incorporate, so with Facebook, starting with kind of what's most important, that cover photo and that profile photo, we always suggest for our customers to definitely use that cover photo to display your logo, and then use the cover photo to basically be an image that you closely tie to your brand. So whether it's a graphic you've had made, photo of your food, photo of your interior, but keeping that branding right in the customer's face. And also this allows them, when they come to the page, they know that this page is being taken care of. They know it's claimed that you're the one in control of it. Go ahead.
There's just a couple questions here.
Sure.
I see a lot of Facebook pages for restaurants that have just used a stock image on that area. I would assume that a lot of people that are going there then probably won't go further into what they have on Facebook if that's all they see.
I mean, it definitely can be a deterrent. Typically, stock imagery we only recommend if necessary to be used on your website. Wouldn't take it into the world of social media, just because your social media is very much more so a personal interaction, and stock photos are very the opposite of that. So I would definitely say that could be a deterrent for customers for sure.
And I always think when I think of your website, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, I think it's your foundation, right? It's your restaurant. So just think of it as you added on to your restaurant on the side of it, and this is a new building. This is your new online building, and I would assume the more that we look into these social media platforms, that's kind of like your additions inside your building, right? And these different things that you can contribute to your brand, and totally cool to make sure that we have the right things in those areas on our brand when we're trying to get that message out through social media. Absolutely. I've got a couple of questions here. I don't know if you want to take one right now, but how much do restaurants hire outside services to do these things, to monitor these? Do a lot of restaurants do this?
Quite often. I'll kind of go over more so what we offer specifically later, but to kind of the short of it, we offer two options for customers to just put this in perspective. We have an option that helps them do it themselves, and then we have an option where our team of marketing professionals, we do it for the customer. So we're posting for them along with other responsibilities like responding to reviews. Most customers of ours are opting to pass that responsibility off. I would say over 60%. just because they don't have the time, or maybe they've relied on their kids who were in college, but now, they're going off and getting real jobs now. So it's really kind of personal preference as far as your, if you have someone in-house that you trust, if you have the time yourself, if your, staff in-house has the time to all jump in and help. But usually, they are pushing off those responsibilities to make sure they're done correctly. And, again, they don't have the time to do so.
That's one thing I think a lot of operators don't have is time. I have one more here question that just relates to this page you're showing is how often should you change your cover photo?
Definitely. I mean, if you have the content to do so, I say do it, maybe once a month or so. Facebook added the option recently where you can actually have a video there or one of those panoramic photos, which is even more interactive, and it's just going to get you more engagement. So really, if you have the time to do so, if you have the images and or videos to do so, I would say definitely update that once a month if you can.
Yeah, I would assume, yeah, if you can even do more.
Yeah, if there's like, Halloween or any kind of holidays that you're doing anything for, like a major event, it doesn't hurt to showcase it there as well, as long as it's the correct dimensions.
Yeah, and I use Canva.
Okay.
.ca is what I use for a lot of the things I put on mine, and it's free services. So people that are on the call today, go to canva.ca or .com. I can't remember. Sorry, but you can go in there because I think there's dimensions that Facebook does put out there. What you need, you can actually put that into, and they already have templates already that you can go into Canva and use it. It's amazing. It's free too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really great program.
So going into kind of the other sections here, Facebook also recently added the opportunity for businesses to add a call to action button, essentially. Now, they do give you several kind of specific options to choose from with it, but I recommend utilizing it, even if it's just for the ability for customers to message you to bring more attention to that. They have reservations one, stuff like that. So I would definitely, again, to increase that engagement, giving customers the opportunity to reach out to you, I recommend utilizing that for sure. Here you have another kind of newer section to Facebook, which kind of, I should have prefaced this with, Facebook allows the most information to be shown. So that's kind of why I'm going through all these different areas, because you definitely want to take advantage, because again, customers might just end up here. And since Facebook does allow you to share the most, you definitely want to do so. Going into that, they did add this section recently where it's essentially your story, your about us. So surprisingly, over 60% of customers who are searching for restaurants, they want to read some kind of about information. It's actually the most viewed page on a website. So definitely you want to have this information here as well. Customers are looking for it. They do care. And if they click on there, they get the little pop-up of, a photo you can put in there as well as kind of the additional info, since they're only seeing a preview at first. The about information, everyone pretty much knows about that. That's been there always since Facebook started, but definitely make sure you're filling it in. And kind of secondly, that suggest edits button you see down there. Now, with all kind of public consumer-facing sites, so Facebook and then your review sites like Yelp and TripAdvisor, they always provide the opportunity for consumers to suggest an edit, because the sites are meant for them. They want the ability for customers, if they see something's not correct, the hours that they can recommend it for other customers. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is people can suggest hours that aren't correct, a phone number that's not correct, an address that's not correct. And more often than not, Facebook and these other sources override the information that's on the page. So always be aware of that, and just always, monitor, make sure everything's consistent and correct, and edit as needed. The tab information. So Facebook also recently added the ability for you to basically edit these kind of as they fit for your business. So they give you kind of the, stock, contact, about the photos, all of that. Now you can also add your other social media links. Also, if you're multi-location, what's really important is utilizing the locations tab. So if you if you have a multi-location and you're utilizing one Facebook, that's perfectly fine. But you don't want to tie that location to the Facebook page, or I should say one location specifically to that Facebook page. Just for searchability reasons, you don't want to limit kind of which customers are finding that Facebook. So now they have a locations option where you can list all your locations and customers can just click there and easily see where you're located. Here's the settings page where kind of all that is done. It's actually surprisingly really easy to navigate through. So it really gives you the option to move stuff around, add a tab. They also added options as far as showcasing different things you offer. Wi-Fi I highlighted just because Wi-Fi is becoming more and more a decision-making factor for customers. So if you do offer Wi-Fi, definitely add that as well. It will allow you to also showcase the name of your Wi-Fi network. So that's definitely a cool tool also. The social media links, like I mentioned, you can add in there. And really kind of all that put together gives you a really, really, brand forward Facebook for customers to find all your information and easily navigate through and find whatever they may be looking for, when they're on your Facebook page. Going over to Twitter. So Twitter and Instagram, they limit how much you're sharing with customers. So really with these, you just want to make sure that, again, your branding is there. So the cover photo, the profile photo, the about information, I think it's like 120 or less characters they give you. Making sure it speaks directly to your customer base and adding any information you feel is most important. So this customer, they chose to put in their hashtags that they have customers use, as well as their email address. Instagram, similar. Again, making sure you have your profile photo as your logo, so customers can easily see that and identify it. With Instagram, they also now have the ability to highlight stories. So stories are really cool tools. That kind of ideology came from Snapchat, of course, and they brought it over to Instagram, where you can share videos for customers to essentially scroll through at their convenience. The only problem is the stories is that after 24 hours, they typically disappear. Recently, Instagram added the option where you can save them. So any that get high engagement rates or that are just kind of fun, you can save, and customers will be able to click on from your Instagram page. So this customer, they had an article written about them that they saved to their story, which they then saved as a highlight. Articles surprisingly have some of the most highest interaction rates. So if anyone locally has written about your business, or if something is even in an article that pertains to the area you're in or anything like that, definitely share it with customers. You'll get the engagement from it.
Corinne, I just want to jump in there and just mention to a lot of our customers on the call, I don't know if everyone's asked to have articles wrote about you, but it might be an opportunity as well, because they're always looking for ideas and different things to write about and different stories, especially if you're launching a new menu or if you're launching new items, right? Or you've updated your new Facebook page or whatever it is. Get people writing about your restaurants out there, because our competitors and a lot of these national brands are doing it, right? They're making the media right now with a lot of these plant-based diets and plant-based ideas. Get out there, ask to get articles wrote about you. They're a great idea.
Definitely. And I'll kind of get to those local foodies, but even blogs and stuff like that, people are kind of, kind of the evolution of the customer and how they're looking for things. They are, at times looking for those blog posts just to kind of give you some credibility, if that makes sense. So like Jay said, definitely ask. Most people are, like he said, looking for content. So it's an even trade-off where you're giving them content, they're giving you exposure. So it's definitely, a great opportunity, and you should definitely, ask your local blogs, local foodies to come in and, write articles. Here's just some other examples of stories that this customer, felt were, impactful to save on their highlights. Prep videos, I always recommend those as well. Again, customers I've spoken to, they feel that their customers won't really care. Couldn't be further from the truth, and especially in kind of this format. Really, the video only has to be, 30 to 60 seconds long, and taken from an iPhone or any kind of smartphone, and you can go ahead and share it, and you'll definitely get the engagement from that as well. This customer got so much that they, in fact, shared this, or saved this, I should say, on their highlights as well. Also, again, since that bio info is limited, definitely making sure that it's as direct and has the most important information possible. This customer chose to showcase those hashtags that they have their customers use. And really brand consistency from social media source to social media source. That's really important. This should kind of be how the experience is for a customer who is on any of your social media, where they go from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram, and they're really seeing the same photos, the same profile photos, so your logo, and the same general information. That consistency is really important. Again, for customers to identify you and to connect with you. So best times to post. I'm sorry, Jay, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, I think the thing, if you want to go back to that last slide, is just from consulting with thousands of restaurants, the less we can make our customers confused,
Yep.
the better it is for your operation. And that goes from your menu to your social media presence. People don't, as soon as everyone I think on the call has been to a restaurant when you can't figure out the menu and it's above the counter, like go and grab and go a QSR or something really quick, and you look at the menu above you and you're trying to figure out what to do next as you order, you're less likely to go back to that place because it's too confusing and it's uncomfortable. It's hard. So same with your webinar or your social media presence. If it's not consistent and has that brand identity of every other area, it's going to get confusing, and people don't like to be confused, and they're going to less likely come back. So same
right.
thing.
And it's also building that trust.
Yeah.
If you're providing that easy experience for them online, it's automatically assumed that when they come in, they're going to be treated the same way. So best times to post. I feel this is important as well. Definitely it varies slightly from social media to social media. Typically Wednesdays, as you can see for Facebook and Instagram, Wednesdays are definitely great days. With Facebook, best time is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Worst day is always typically Sunday. Surprisingly, people are still utilizing that as a rest day. They're not as quite engaged on their phones or social media that day. Worst time for Facebook, early mornings before 7 a.m., evenings after 5 p.m. And your best bet for consistent engagement. So really, you obviously don't want to just post on Wednesday. So posting throughout the week, your best bet is between 9 and 3 p.m. Between Monday and Friday. Instagram's fairly similar. Best day Wednesday, best time Wednesday between 11 a.m. Wednesday at 11 a.m. and Friday between 10 and 11 a.m. Worst day again Sunday. Worst time late night and early morning between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And the consistent engagement is between Tuesday and Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now, real briefly, Facebook, I mentioned it before. I think there's a misconception there that they're kind of falling behind. Facebook's still the leader in terms of social media. They have over 2 billion users, and Facebook is really the only social media right now that encompasses all generations. So, people that are, as young as like 12 to people, upwards of 65 and over, they're on Facebook. That's, the easiest social media for them to use. So definitely, hitting those engagement peaks is key for Facebook. Instagram, slightly behind Facebook. They have about 1 billion users. Primarily, those users are between 18 and 29. The middle group, that 30 to 49 group is about 40%, and they only have about 21% of 50 to 65-year-olds. So with Twitter, surprisingly, Twitter, again, still relevant. I think the number one thing I hear from customers is that, I stopped posting to Twitter, no one's on Twitter. Twitter grows a lot each and every year. It does only have about 120 million users, but it does grow from different things such as fantasy football. And also, again, that older generation is more so kind of logging on there to keep up with grandkids. And then with Twitter specifically, people are seeing it as a customer service kind of resource. So they're tweeting businesses to, hopefully not, but at times complain, or to give feedback, or to just simply ask questions. And they're expecting, those questions and everything to be answered. So best day, Tuesday and Wednesday. best time Wednesday at 9 a.m. and Friday at 9 a.m. Worst day is Saturday. Worst time between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. every day. And that consistent engagement level is going to be Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
I was going to say, Corinne, it's kind of ironic. Everything's on Wednesdays, like our webinars.
Wednesday is kind of that day where people are so, at least statistically what they find is people are so obviously stressed out, you know, that kind of Sunday to Monday, the Sunday night to Monday-ish time period. And by Wednesday, they finally are able to like kind of exhale, you know, before the end of the week takes off. So really anything online usually has the most success on Wednesdays. So finding your restaurant's voice, I feel that this is really important just because part of the, you know, intimidation with posting is kind of, you know, exactly that, your voice. What voice are you going to use and how do you figure that out? I think that a lot of people are more familiar with brands, kind of like Wendy's and stuff like that, where, you know, they go for more of like the funny, sarcastic, you know, making fun of other companies. And obviously that's not going to work for everybody. So kind of a starting point as far as how to find, you know, the voice for your business and establish that personality. I always recommend to start by writing really simple information about your business. So, you know, the food and drink that you serve, your customer demographic typically, your busy hours, as well as your price point, as well as your goals. So are your goals to just cater to those specific customers that, you know, typically come in? Do you want to grow, you know, that demographic to also include maybe millennials, Gen Z, you know, and start incorporating those? That's really going to dictate which voice you're using as well.
And does voice mean like their brand in a way too, Corinne?
So it does, because it's going to be a direct representation. But I think sometimes people think it's not that deep, you know, kind of the verbiage they're using in their posts and in their tweets and everything, when really it is, because that's going to be directly tied to your brand and, again, viewed as how they'll be treated in-house. For some, you know, restaurants, like, you know, maybe you have a sports bar, you know, definitely that kind of funny kind of go-to strategy is going to be what works best for you. It's going to work best for your customers. But if you're, you know, a white tablecloth restaurant, that's not going to be the best approach for you. They're going to be expected to be marketed to differently. So this is definitely your starting point. But what's also important to keep in mind is that really most successful posting isn't just about you and your business, but it's understanding your customers and what they want from you. So what I definitely recommend is when you're going over your goals as far as, you know, again, do you want to cater specifically to the demographic you know that you have in-house? Do you want to go beyond that? Start searching online. I always recommend searching by hashtags on Instagram, you know, for your local area, see what your competitors are doing, look at the local food, you know, influencers and stuff like that, and see kind of what's trending, and then figure out how you fit in that. Sometimes it's really obvious, and sometimes you need, you know, that professional help. But that's definitely going to be your starting point, and focusing, you know, on those customers and their needs and local trends and, you know, what they're currently reacting to.
Is there anything you avoid?
I mean, we always tell customers to avoid politics 100% of the time, to not get involved. There are sometimes really, I would say, very rare instances where, you know, maybe something they're supporting in the community that they're advertising or that they're promoting might have somewhat of a political tie. You know, that's going to happen. That's different. But typically, always avoid politics. Always avoid anything that, you know, anyone might potentially, you know, find offensive. But at the same time, we have customers, and again, it's typically like the bars. I would say that millennial through, you know, 49-ish age, you know, that's their key demographic, where they prefer to be marketed to in kind of a sarcastic, almost rude kind of way. The humor, you know what I mean? So it really depends on your concept and the customers you're looking to, you know, have in-house. Regardless of kind of which voice you use, make sure you're consistent. That's really important. You know, you might have, if you decide to keep these responsibilities in-house, you might have, 4 to 6, maybe 10 different people posting for you. So it's really important that no matter, who's jumping in there, that they're staying consistent with that voice that you've chosen is best for your business. So I'm going to go over some tips for posting, and then I'm going to show some examples of kind of where I found some restaurants really, doing well with what usually works best for any, audience that might be viewing your business online. So the first few, posting food photos, of course, goes a long way. I think everybody knows that the brain processes images faster than text. Also, along with here, definitely videos. I always suggest, because customers, of course, always say that they're worried to take their own photos, they're worried to take their own videos. I know you guys just had a presentation on taking photos, so I would definitely reference that for sure. But then also, some posts don't have to be, again, that deep. It's taking your iPhone and recording 30 seconds of a dish being prepared, maybe taking a before photo of ingredients and an after photo of, once it's finished, and plated. Those kinds of things will get engagement, and from any modern smartphone, you can really get, a great photo, a great video that you can post on social media. With your posts, we find that this ratio is typically most successful. So 60% promotional, 40% engagement. The number one reason why people unfollow restaurants is because they had too much promotional content on their feed. Now, promotional can even be, offering them something. So definitely, make sure that you're staying within that ratio. As far as those engagement posts, the other kind of suggestions here fall within those. And there's, definitely a lot of other content that you can use that pertain to your business that won't make customers feel like, they're being targeted. Use relevant hashtags. Definitely, you can use some generic ones, like burger and stuff like that, but I would definitely recommend using hashtags that are relevant to your area, to your specific niche, especially if you have something specific that maybe sets you apart, like certain vegan options or something like that. You definitely want to make sure that you're utilizing hashtags for, customers to use, because most people, again, utilizing social media as a search engine where they're going to look for that hashtag and find something local to them, to make their dining decision. Making your restaurant Instagrammable. Really simple. Customers, especially millennials, were guilty of it. I'm sorry. Love stuff like neon lights, plant walls, interesting, boxes or just decor. It really doesn't take much. You know what I mean? Anything where they can take a picture of it and it be, something that they want to put on their Instagram or their Facebook is really, what you're looking for in that aspect. I know a lot of restaurants I see now in the bathroom, they'll have their name, backwards, so that when someone takes a photo with it, it shows. And people, they love that stuff, and they will take the photos and they will post them, and they will tag your business, which will get you even more exposure. Interacting with followers. So those are the posts that you see that, caption this photo, what's your favorite menu item, those kinds of posts. People love those as well. And I also recommend when customers comment, reacting, even if it's just liking their comment, or maybe, theirs was the best one, and, commenting that, that makes, people feel more connected to your business as well. Here I have the invite local foodie influencers in for a meal. We spoke about that kind of briefly. Everybody in every area has one. Probably a couple. So definitely find out who those, people are, invite them in. Again, typically, in my experience, I haven't seen them actually charging restaurants. They're looking for content. This is something that, they constantly on a daily basis have to be posting photos to keep up with their audience. So it's really, you're exchanging, a meal with them for, exposure. So it's definitely a great opportunity.
Would you recommend family or friends, or stay away from that?
I mean, it depends. If the person has enough of a following, then I would say definitely, I would go with that. But if it's someone who isn't really like a credible person within, that kind of niche, maybe don't do that, just because your business would be directly tied to that. The other ones are kind of obvious here. So your specials, posting those online. Most people are going to look on your Facebook and Instagram for those. Kind of along with that is any special hours, so holiday hours, stuff like that. Make sure you're posting as well. Online ordering promo codes. So definitely if you offer online ordering, which hopefully everybody is because of how big that is now, definitely be promoting that online on your social media overall. So the fact that you have it, how customers can access it, that will definitely move people, to utilizing that and hopefully calling you and placing orders less. But with those promo codes, those are really key because often, of course, you have slow hours. You post a promo code, 10% off your online order if you use code, whatever it may be. Customers are going to react to that. They're going to utilize that, and you're going to see a huge increase during those slow hours. Offering something of value for free. Recipes seem to be huge, even if it's not something, that's actually on your menu. Maybe for the holidays you offer, a banana bread recipe, something like that. Customers really like to have that, and they'll actually, utilize those as well. Sharing interesting facts, showcasing employees, your brand culture. Really what gets people is any kind of stories of, starting out and where they are now type of thing. Also, employees having fun, just because really you're showcasing your energy that you have in-house and making people want to be part of that. So definitely, those are huge opportunities as well. Just some kind of ideas as well. Facebook fans of the month. I've seen that be successful. Contests. So, having customers take photos, maybe make their own recipes, naming menu items, those types of things, and really offering something small in return. So if they name a menu item and, they're the winner, they get a free lunch, whatever it may be, those definitely have customers stay engaged as well. Sharing community involvement. Restaurants are the backbone of really any community. So of course, there's going to be things you're involved with, whether it's the local Little League team, maybe the local fire department, whatever it may be. Make sure your customers know. They want to see that as well.
And Corinne, like, this stuff is so awesome, and it's gearing towards a millennial and Gen Z, right? This is what they want to see. This is amazing. This is the stuff that studies that we're studying relates back to that millennial and Gen Z. They want to hear this stuff.
Really what it is with those generations is, and it sounds kind of corny, but the need to connect to something. And they bring that into brands, and they just want to connect with you as much as possible. So really, as much as, kind of on the personal sides of things of the business. So again, your employees, your about story, anything like that, they want to hear so that they can feel more connected to you as a business.
Yep.
The last ones on this slide I have are really with cross-marketing. So essentially, social media is kind of like, the main engine of your online presence as a whole, but really everything kind of loops into one another. So really making sure that you're utilizing social media to get people to your website, increase the traffic there, join your mailing list, because you definitely want to be email marketing as well. And then of course, across the social media platforms themselves. So if you, notice you have a low following on Twitter, post on Facebook, hey, did you check us out on Twitter? You don't necessarily have to offer something, just bringing attention to it usually is enough. But you can, of course, hey, for a free drink with your lunch, follow us on Twitter, and you'll, see those follows go up. Using emojis, surprisingly, social media posts with emojis have a higher engagement rate. More people are liking them, more people are sharing them. So definitely, where they apply, feel free to utilize those as well. And utilizing your social media to monitor your reputation. So with Facebook, you of course have the recommendations, that's essentially that review piece where it'll be right in front of your face. You can't miss that. Reply to those, keep an eye on those. And then also your mentions on social media as well. There's tools out there. We have a tool here at OrderE that will help you basically be alerted anytime your brand is mentioned on social media. You definitely want to be keeping an eye on that, and again, responding when necessary. And then last posting tip is to schedule your posts. If you don't have the time, again, most restaurant operators don't, log in, once a week or maybe even just once a month. utilizing a tool and schedule those posts out so that you don't have to worry about doing that every single day. You can just do it all at one time and they'll post out accordingly. So I'm going to bring over just some examples of successful uses of these different kinds of things on social media. So the first is this customer. Now he does several things that I find really successful. He actually wants to post a video, basically an employee spotlight, and that gets a lot of engagement. But he also, those are done professionally, so I feel like, you know, that might be viewed as cheating. But he also posts videos of, you know, different events that he's having as previews, which get a lot of engagement. Videos are only about 45 seconds long, if that. Also, photos of and videos of a renovation he's doing, he posts, which customers react to as well. So, you know, we're almost ready for the new space. It's literally just a video from a phone. But customers are reacting, you know, it even got shares. So it's definitely a great use of, you know, really just anything around you and making that content.
And I think, Corinna, on that too, is it doesn't have to be polished. Like you don't have to bring in a video crew, right?
Definitely not. Like I believe that that's at times, of course, worth investing in, but most of what's successful in social media and what gets people is, you know, these angles and stuff like that. It's not that crazy. So it's all done from smartphone. Here's another customer. So I mentioned kind of, I call them millennial traps, but really utilizing different things from a design element, whether how you plate items, you know, do to-go items or just decorations in-house. This is a great example of that. This customer, he started in San Francisco. He's now in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Both locations, he uses lights, those neon lights that people love to take photos with, you know, on a brick wall, again, adding to that photo-worthy kind of element. All of their to-go boxes have different kind of sayings on them, and they're decorated cute where people would want to take a photo. It's like 69% of people, the first thing they do when they're presented with food is they do take a photo of it. So make sure it's something that is worthy of them posting it online. Also with this customer, most of his photos are actually from his customers. So that's really huge, especially with Instagram, where it's, of course, all photo-based. You don't really have to worry about creating all that content yourselves. You use a hashtag or, you know, customers tag you, you're going to easily find photos that customers are posting. Use their photos and tag them in it. That's going to make them feel good. That's going to, you know, have a really, really positive customer forward, you know, appeal to it. And it's also, again, going to give you kind of endless content because every single day you will find that customers are posting images. Here's just another example, again, of those millennial traps. The lights, the plant walls, the different ways things are plated, and they even put a swing in there, which, of course, everybody stops and takes a photo in. And then, in turn, the business takes those photos and they share them. So definitely great example as well. This is a customer who's actually local to me, one of my favorite businesses. They posted this the other day where they shared someone else's Facebook status, and the Facebook status says, "Get rid of Panera, replace them all with roast sandwich houses now." And simply them sharing that status got them almost 300 likes, a bunch of comments, a bunch of shares. So again, sharing that, you know, user-created content. Just some more millennial traps. So the way things are plated. Also, this customer, they have some really simple murals on the outside of their restaurant, which, again, without a doubt, customers are stopping and taking photos with. So this is, again, a restaurant that's local to us, and pretty much all of my friends, I see at least, you know, 2 times a weekend, photos just like this one in front of the mural. And right near the mural, if you can see down here, they put the hashtags to use when you post your photo. So it has to do with the business. They're able to find it, and they're simply just sharing these photos and tagging the customer in them.
Such a great way of getting exposure out there.
And not that hard, you know?
Not hard.
But I would stop and take a photo with that. I'm going to. I plan on going there in 2 weeks. Some more user-generated content. The Grilled Cheesery, they post photos of, really anything that customers are posting where they're eating the food, because of course the photos typically look like this, especially with kids, it's super cute. So that's, their kind of go-to strategy that's working out really well for them also. Community involvement, an example of someone who, works with a local fire department, just posting that. And again, customers are looking to see that. They're liking it, they're reacting to it. So definitely, something great to share with people also. Local foodies. So here's our local foodie. He started really small and now he has a huge following. But simply really all he does is he will speak with a restaurant, they'll ask, him to come in. And he has almost 200,000 followers. And he simply just posts a photo, with their food, whatever it may be, and tags the business. He'll write, I had a great experience, whatever it may be. And that's giving this business here specifically over, 6,000 people that they're now exposed to that maybe might not have heard about their business before. Again, these people exist in every area. And they're looking to post content like this on an almost daily basis. So inviting them in, having them tag you, and getting that exposure. Last example I have is giving that employee, shout out. Basically, this customer, they basically just shout out a birthday of one of the co-owners. And again, people love to know, that type of thing, that it's their birthday. Any kind of information like that. So sharing that, using that as your content for the day, definitely a great idea. I mentioned before how social media is basically kind of the engine to your online presence as a whole. I think that this really kind of showcases kind of how the flow all works. Really, your customer is going to enter in at one of these points. So whether they, land on your Facebook first, your website first, maybe they utilize your free Wi-Fi and you get their information that way, and then you're marketing out to them. One way or another, they end up in the cycle of your marketing, and really the social media, the responding to reviews, the email marketing, that's what's going to keep them within this cycle, and ending up at the other places and ultimately getting them in your doors or ordering online. Just some takeaways. Everybody is on social media. Again, it's now cross-generational, where it's Gen Z to, the people past the baby boomers. Everybody is on social media now, specifically Facebook, but they are also jumping on Instagram and Twitter as well. Every like, comment, reaction, share, retweet is an interaction with your customers that you don't want to miss. People, of course, are still expecting, that every once in a while having someone come table to table, ask how their experience was. But they're looking for that experience to extend past the experience in-house, where they're, responding to online, that they can interact with your business, they can look at your statuses, and have that experience as well. Through utilizing social media, and again, posting things that ask questions, ask, opinions, you're able to gain really invaluable customer insights as far as what your customer base is looking for. We have a ton of customers where we'll ask, what are you looking to see on our fall menu? And they take that information and they incorporate it so that they can really, really serve their customer base. Went over this in the last slide, how active you are on social media will affect your online presence as a whole. I think what's also worth mentioning here as well is we always get asked about SEO. SEO kind of has become a little bit of an outdated thing. Nowadays, it's more based on organically how you're doing overall across the web. So how active you are, how consistent and accurate your information is, making sure you're everywhere across the web where customers might look. So social media, review sites, they have a lot to do with how your activity overall is judged across the web, which of course will then help you in search results overall as well. Practice your ABCs. So always respond. So everybody, in a timely manner. I recommend, especially on Facebook, you have those badges where it'll say, this business typically responds very quickly. You want to earn that badge. Anytime you get a message, anything, make sure you're responding so that customers know that they can rely on communicating with you through social media. Be transparent. So, as engaged as you want your followers to be with you, you have to be with them. So, answer any questions, address concerns, take time to, acknowledge when people are commenting on your content, posting photos from your business, all things like that. And capture attention. Photos are definitely key, videos are key, we went over that. Basically varying your content and using that proven ratio of promotional posts versus engagement posts. And then don't forget that social media really is kind of a limitless resource for you to engage with your customers, have them engage with you, and really is your main way to do so in today's day and age. And again, it's not a trend, that's going anywhere. So use it to empower you, use it to embrace, a few times kind of the evolution of things work out in the favor of the business owner. This is one of the few ways it has. Billboard advertising, newspaper advertising, that's all so expensive. Managing your social media, if you do it yourself, it's really not costing you anything. Even if you utilize a team, like OrderE's or anybody else, you're not paying nearly as much as you would for that type of advertising. So definitely keep it in mind that it's only going to help you in your business. And then if you don't have the time to do so, definitely, have someone else do it for you. I have just a slide here that kind of shows what we do. But again, OrderE specifically, we have a dashboard that will pull in everything for you. So the ability to post to all your social media platforms. It'll also pull in all your reviews, allow you to do competition tracking, email marketing, and then we're also here to do it for you. So if you don't have time, we'll post for you, we'll respond to reviews, email market. We also do websites, Wi-Fi marketing, and really anything you would need in terms of your online presence as well. Back to you, Jay.
I was going to say we have a few questions here, and we're going to try to get to a couple of them in 2 minutes. So thanks again, Corinne. This is just such great information. So I got a couple here. There's a great question here from Charles. Hi, do we need customers' permission to post a picture or video of them online in a photo group? How do you get around that?
The online's kind of the Wild West in a way, where I'm sure you've heard the expression, once something's online, it's there forever. Basically, even if you do have privacy settings on, anything you share online is then public. So really sharing a photo, especially if they tagged your business in it, you're really not going to have any issue there. And you really shouldn't, not even just kind of legally speaking, but as far as maybe upsetting somebody, if they tagged your business and they shared it, it's fair game, and there won't be any hurt feelings there.
Yeah, it is definitely one that I've heard before a few times. So one of the things is another question. What would you, for restaurants just starting out in this area, what would you start out first with?
As far as which social media?
Yeah.
I would start with Facebook, just because, again, it does reach so many more people, and it's really easy. It's more as far as using it, it's easy to navigate through, a little easier than your Instagram and your Twitter. And again, a lot of people are utilizing that to search, for information beyond your posting, so your hours and your menu and stuff like that. Definitely, I would recommend that be your starting point. Again, there are, platforms out there that allow you to post out to multiple platforms at one time. So I would definitely look into that option as well, so that, if it's kind of the timepiece you're worried about, that kind of, eliminates, maybe that being an issue for you.
Perfect. So we're going to wrap up here. There's a few more questions here, and I think one of them was, how do they contact you and how do they get a hold of OrderE's? Go to the website?
Yeah, definitely. So if you go to ordere's.com, A lot of our information as far as overviews of the different aspects of our platform are on there, as well as you can fill out a form to be contacted, which definitely, let us know that you're a Cisco customer. Because Cisco customers do get a big discount on our platform. And then, any questions, maybe beyond that, you can also contact your rep, who can contact us as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you have any questions on this, and you reach out to your marketing associate as well, or contact myself. Everyone has my email if you need more information on OrderE's. Everyone's got my email as well that would have signed up for today's webinar. So first of all, thanks again, Corinne, for all this great information. It's just fabulous. This is always evolving. We'll probably have you back in a few months just to talk more about this, because I think it's going to change more and more as we move forward. And to everyone else that was able to attend today's webinar, thank you for making our webinar so successful. We have an amazing guest coming up on September 25th with Jem Lurd from restaurantowner.com. I truly believe Jem is the best consultant in the industry. There's no one better than Jem when it comes to knowing our industry better than him. And we'll be talking about third-party deliveries. So let's find out more what's happening in the Uber Eats world, the Skip the Dishes, all those things Jim's going to talk about with us on September 25th. Same time, same Wednesdays. Apparently, we knew what we were doing on that area. Yeah, we're going to have Webinar Wednesday, September 25th. And then we have a great lineup all the way to the end of December and then into the new year. So thanks again for everyone that was able to make today's call. Sorry couldn't get to all the questions, but we'll definitely follow up with you. And today's webinar is recorded, so you will get an email from myself. If you do need a recording of it, we will send it to you. But you have to email me so I can respond back to you. So anyways, thanks again, Corinne. Everyone else have a fabulous rest of your week. And we will see you on September 25th, same time, same place, Webinar Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.